All right, there are many games out there that have gone the way of the dodo for one reason or another, whether it be because of a niche market or because of some other reason. Some games just, are dead. Here's one that you may have seen before, but likely not. This is Hong Kong Action Theater. You can't really tell that by looking at the title, because the title is very poorly graphically designed. The front cover is kind of interesting. It's just this generally glossy black abomination of graphic design, but it works because this is a role-playing game about John Woo movies, martial arts movies, Chinese-style gunplay like Jackie Chan or Jet Li. This is the role-playing game for that. This came out in 1996 from Event Horizon Productions. And it was actually one of those things that if you knew about it, you knew about it. I don't think people openly talked about this game all the time. Most people at that time were talking about other role-playing games. But this one is an interesting little study in here is how you make a dead game. So I actually really came across this because the subject matter caught me and an ex-friend of mine. We both were into martial arts, and he was a real big fan of Chinese-style gunplay. I've always preferred war movies to action movies, but whatever. But he said, "Hey, let's play with this," and I eventually bought a copy after he bought a copy, and after he played one campaign, which went nowhere. Anyway, opening the book, see what's inside of it, you'll see immediately that it's got that 1990s. Made on an Apple computer kind of graphic design to it. There's no exception to that rule. It's black and white all the way through. And every last section of text, barring table of contents or sidebars, is surrounded by these little cute little graphic representation here. So it is actually very thorough. I'm not going to diss the game. The game is actually very nice. The book is a wonder of the 1990s printing capacities. It has a bunch of interesting things about it. It's not designed for heavy detail. It's designed for cinematic action. So you have a chart of hand-to-hand weapons. Later there's a chart of ranged weapons. There are, let me see if I can pull up the character sheet on the way back. I'll talk about playing the game itself. So with Hong Kong Action Theater, and yes, they put Bruce Lee's picture in there before copyright infringement was heavily dealt with. So this has all kinds of actual photographs from big studios in the book. Your stats: muscle, skill, speed, toughness, brains, cool, and chi. You roll a 10 plus d10 to get the stat, and you can choose to modify your rolls, but you may lose a point here or there if you choose to modify them and it rolls high because your max is 20. You have a character you make, which is essentially an actor. You have a damage pool, you have specialties, you have a chi pool, you have all kinds of signature moves and stuff, but you don't get any skills, you don't get damage, you don't get weapons. It's not a character sheet like you'd expect from a Dungeons & Dragons or Call of Cthulhu style role-playing game where your character has an inventory. Instead, you're an actor, you bid for roles based on your star power, and somewhere on here, do you have star power at all? There might be a back to this character sheet. Let's look. Yes, there is. Martial arts maneuvers, weapons. Okay, so you can't have weapons. I guess those add and subtract, though, because those aren't particular to you. They're for a role. So you have a star power level, a press photo. Funny place to put a press photo. Way in the bottom corner of the character sheet. Anyway, so you bid to get the role for the film you're running, and each adventure you're running is essentially a film. You'll bid, you'll get your rolls. Your rolls actually give you stuff like your skills and whatnot. You can spend your specialties on those skills. And then you play out the kung fu movie or hard-boiled style action movie you want to play using this role play set. And they have other additional, these are the roll sheets for the different roles available for each movie that you play out when you're playing a movie. So, all in all, it's different. It's also D20 based. It uses a D20, and you just roll against your statistic versus any kind of modified specialty you get, and you try to beat a TN number based on your D20 roll plus your stat plus your specialty. So it's got interesting little setups here. Like I said, it's not a detailed system. It's got a bunch of information though. Like this section here is scenarios. Let me get past the scenarios. It has an entire section dedicated to these are, you know, various kung fu movies. This is just another scenario, I think. But I am very bad at reading upside down. I should not do videos upside down. But in any case, this there's an entire section devoted to these are various martial arts movies you can go out and watch. There's an entire section dedicated to the history of Hong Kong. There's a section dedicated to the history of martial arts movies in general. The role-playing segment is actually, let me use that part with the, okay, so there's a magic system based on the I Ching, and so you've got that, and that's what all this is. This is the magic system. You know you're looking at the magic system when you're looking at these pages. So there's that, and then you actually have the role-playing section where this, yeah, this section here, that's the role-playing rules right there. See that? That's your role-playing rules. The rest of that is the stuff I've described. History of, resources for. This guy really did his research, Mr. Skarka. Now this game had expansions. There's one called, I don't own any of the expansions. It's just a single book I bought. There's a Live and Die in Hong Kong book. There's a film festival book. There is a, I think it's called a Triad source book. And there's something else. There's like 4 of them. Then this game was bought by Guardians of Order, and it got a second edition. I don't know which expansions are in the second edition. The second edition was like 2000, 2001. This game was like 1996. So I have heard nothing about this game past the mid-2000s. I looked for new editions and printings. You might find that thing that kind of counts for, okay, someone made the PDF and it's available online. So what? If it's not being produced and it's not being updated, doesn't have new product going for it from some kind of owner or creator of the book, I mean, come on, does it really count? This book is a really good one. If you like Kung Fu, like I do, if you like action movies, if you like gunfighting in like just a fun, play a cool game with your friends kind of milieu, this is actually a pretty good game. I like the fact it's pretty simple. You just have your D10. Sorry, your D10 is usually a D20 rolled in half, but I have plenty of D10s. But you have D10s, you have D20s, and it's a unique system where you just roll to hit a target number, and it's fun. Second edition's not like the first edition. Second edition was based on Guardian of Order's Tri-Stat system where you had body, mind, and soul. So if you've played Big Eyes, Small Mouth, you've probably played equivalently of the second edition. I'll be honest, I like this game, but this game, it is definitely a product of its time. It's got really bad graphic design, but I don't care too much about that. I have some games that have really bad design, but I still love them. And they're here with me and they're going to stay. I actually would not mind playing this game in the future. I've only ever played one campaign of it. And wait, actually, I played L5R using this system once. We played like a modern setting of L5R. It was one game. So that happened too. But we only really played one campaign of this RPG. And I'd love to play more in the future, but seeing other games that are out there, seeing what else gets played, I'm not going to just take the time to write up a bunch of stuff for this unless I find people who really are into martial arts movies. And I'll probably do one based on martial arts as opposed to be doing the gunplay, because my real love, I like military stuff, I like sci-fi stuff. I really love martial arts movies. Anybody who walks into my house and looks at my DVD collection will realize, why are 90% of your DVDs from China or Japan? Because. But anyway, yeah, I like this one. It's cool. But if you can find it and you like the setting, buy a copy. If you find a copy and you're not into martial arts or gunplay, stay away. If you want operator stuff, it's not good for that. If you want military stuff, it's not good for that. If you want detailed gunfights, it's not good for that either. But it's really fun, and it captures all of the excitement of pretending to play in a martial arts film, essentially. So this is Hong Kong Action Theater. There's not much to it, but it's a really fun game, and I'm glad I have it in my collection.